A new image of 3i Atlas was released this week, and it turned out to be nothing like what most people had imagined. At first glance, it's just a clean, stable picture of a distant guest moving through our system. But there's something about its overall appearance that makes you slow down and take a second look. Not because it's frighteningly strange, but because it seems more controlled and more polished than you'd expect from the word comet. It has that smooth glow around the center, a tail that holds its shape better than usual, and a kind of calm silhouette, as if drawn on purpose. 3i Atlas has been moving across the sky for a while now, having come from who knows where. And every new image gives us a slightly different piece of the story. But this one stands out because it finally shows the object in a way we can actually see and understand without guessing. There's no wild blur, no broken streaks, no messy cloud of light around it. Instead, the photo shows something neat, steady, and almost silent. The kind of frame that makes you think about how far this object has traveled just to appear before us like this. And maybe that's what makes this picture interesting. Not mystery, not fear, but the simple clarity with which 3i Atlas looks more real here than in anything we've seen before. It's the kind of image you don't want to look away from. Not because something is wrong, but because it finally feels like we're seeing the object for what it is. When people started sharing the new image of 3i Atlas, the first thing that stood out was the opposite of drama. The whole composition has a collected, orderly look that doesn't fit with something drifting in from another star system. The shot was taken in New Mexico. An observer pointed a telescope at the sky and stacked a series of long exposures until the details emerged. And the result doesn't look rushed or chaotic. It is clean, almost serene, as if Atlas held still for a moment so we could finally see it truly. The nucleus rests in a soft glow, not blurred, not smeared, clear enough to note how smooth the transition is between the bright center and the faint haze around it. This haze is the coma, the cloud of gas and dust enveloping the object as it heats up. And in this shot, it looks surprisingly even, as if shaped not by random bursts of sunlight, but by some constant force. Then there's the tail, stretching out neatly, not scattered, as if the object is moving through space with a calm, measured rhythm that doesn't match the usual image of a wild, icy body. What's interesting is that this stability doesn't seem forced. It doesn't look artificial. It's just different from what was expected after all the discussions of recent weeks. Usually, such images come out blurry, stretched, noisy, and you have to guess what's comet and what's an artifact. But here, the structure is distinct enough to follow without strain, making it all feel a little more tangible and less dependent on imperfect data. And perhaps that is precisely what sets this frame apart. It gives Atlas a form that can be understood, something you can point to and say, ah, so this is it. It doesn't clamor for attention. It doesn't try to look spectacular. It simply exists with this quiet clarity, as if the silent depth of the frame itself helps it maintain a coherence we haven't observed before. It's a calm but not boring frame. For the longer you peer into its outlines and soft transitions, the more you understand why this particular image caused such a resonance. Although the new image of 3i Atlas looks calm and stable, many who have watched the object night after night note something interesting. This serenity doesn't always match their own observations. The photo shows a distinct nucleus, an even coma, and a tail stretching in one direction. But amateur astronomers often speak of small changes that don't quite fit this perfect static frame. Some notice the coma shifting from night to night, as if the glow moved around the object instead of staying centered like in most comets. There were also reports of short-term brightness spikes, something you don't expect unless the surface is releasing gas or dust in rapid pulses. In some time lapses, the glow around Atlas looked more intense on one side, then the other, leading some observers to wonder if more was happening beneath the surface than the image suggested. None of this points to anything dramatic, but it adds layers of complexity, not obvious at first glance. The tail itself became part of the discussion. In some frames, people noticed short jets that seemed to turn on and off, as if the object was reacting to sunlight in different ways as it rotated. Rotation could partly explain this, as Atlas appears to spin slowly. But even so, the direction of the jets and slight color shifts in some images made the object seem a little less predictable. Not enough to call it a mystery, but enough to note its difference from the standard behavior expected after the clean, polished shot from New Mexico. All these details don't contradict the fact that Atlas is a comet, but they remind us that comets are not simple. They react to sunlight, they release gas unevenly, they spin, they drift, and they change shape slightly depending on the angle and timing of observation. But when you place the stable image next to these minor anomalies reported by observers night after night, you get a combination of calm and motion that makes the object feel more alive than a single image can convey. And perhaps this is what continues to draw attention. The photograph provides a clear snapshot, while the nocturnal behavior adds dynamism behind the scenes. Not loud, not chaotic, just enough to make Atlas feel like something that doesn't remain the same with every new look. And this contrast between the calm frame and the changing details is what makes the current discussion around the object so active. As more people examined the new image of Atlas, something interesting happened. The dialogue split into two directions, as if the object itself was offering two different stories depending on the approach. On one side is the clean photo, showing a textbook comet shape with a bright center, even coma, and a neat tail. On the other is the continuous work of observers, recording slight color shifts, brightness changes, and brief bursts that don't always look the same from one evening to the next. And instead of contradicting each other, the two versions coexist, creating a space where both can be true simultaneously. The new image is like a moment where everything aligned perfectly. Distance, timing, and technique combined to give us a clear look at what 3i Atlas can be under the right circumstances. But this stable picture doesn't negate the fact that comets are inherently chaotic. And Atlas is still reacting to sunlight, still emitting localized jets, still changing in small ways noticeable only through constant observation. It's as if the clean photo is one part of the story, and the more volatile data is another, reminding us that even a calm object contains movement. Now, everything boils down to waiting for the next set of images. Several spacecraft near Mars captured Atlas during its flyby. And the one everyone is talking about is the shot taken by the high-resolution camera, capable of capturing details no Earth-based telescope can match. These images have not yet been released. And this gap between what has been seen and what is to come adds a subtle tension to everything. Not dramatic, but born from simple curiosity. How will the object look when a camera high above us gets a clean angle without atmospheric interference? Perhaps it will be as smooth and calm as the shot from New Mexico. Or perhaps the small details mentioned from Earth will appear, the very flickers and shifts from night to night. Either way, the next image will not cancel what has already been seen. It will simply add another fragment to the long drift of Atlas through our system, allowing us another look at something that doesn't change rapidly, but doesn't remain entirely immutable either.